week I'm gonna do a training video, finally! Yeah! Alright, so this is my new house again. I've done a little more decorating since the last video. I've actually started training him on a new trick already, but he's not mastered it like at all. So what I'm gonna do today is try and train him to do it. And if we can't get it today, then I'm gonna do it again tomorrow, and then I'll squish the videos together and hopefully he's got it down by then. If not, then I'll just upload anyway, and then I'll update you guys when he finally has it mastered. So what I'm teaching him to do is to sit pretty, which means he's going to sit on his butt and he's gonna lift his front legs up and balance on his back legs. So obviously to get this trick done, he needs to be on a carpeted surface, not the floor, because he's gonna slide. So that's why I've got the camera set up on the carpet. Good boy. Good boy. So what you want to do is when those front paws leave the ground, you want to click them. Good boy. And he can't sit like he's sitting right now, where he had his hips out to the side. He will fall over if he sits like that. I didn't see anything yet. Nope, he can't floppy sit. Up. Good boy. No, I don't want you to jump. There you go, there you go. There you go. And for bigger dogs, obviously, it's going to be a little harder for them at first because that's a lot of weight to suddenly hold up. So it's okay to let them use you to balance. You'll just click it out eventually. Or, yeah, good boy, very good. Good job. That was perfect. Yes, good boy. Yeah, good boy. And then obviously as I master the trick, you can work on lengthening the time that they sit up. But for now, since he's just learning it, I'm not requiring him to stay up for very long. If you've heard, I kind of make a boop, 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 boop kind of noise because that's actually what got him to do it in the first place. So I'm using that as the command for now. And then what you want to do is to use whatever you've been using and then bring in the command you want at the same time, and then eventually fade the old command. So eventually I'll stop making that noise and then just give him the word command that I want. Sit pretty. Sit pretty. Good boy. Very good. Sit pretty. Good boy. Good job. Very good. Sit pretty. Good boy. Sit pretty. Good boy. Very good. Sit pretty. Oh, get it. Good boy. Very good. Sit pretty. There you go. Sit pretty. Good boy. Okay, so I did practice with him a little bit yesterday off camera, which wasn't a whole lot, maybe like 5 minutes worth. So we're gonna come back again and try this out. Sit pretty. Yeah, good boy. Yeah, there it is. Oh, sorry, dropped that one. Sit pretty. Yes, there you go. Good boy. I'm starting to get selective now, so I don't necessarily want him to be grabbing my arms anymore. I'm trying to get him to where he's actually balancing by himself. You'll see it. I caught him towards the end, like once I give him a treat, then he like holds it the exact way I want him to. So you've probably seen me once or twice click him again because he's still in the position that I want. So I'm trying to select for the position of the final trick, so to speak. Pretty. Yeah, perfect. Very good. Is it pretty? Yay, good boy. Oh, you're getting it. You're getting it. I'm kind of a dummy with the camera right now. I totally had it pointed at my feet and Ajax's feet the entire time. I'm so sorry. I should have checked, especially after yesterday, because I shot half the video yesterday. I should have checked the footage last night to make sure that I moved it up today. So to give you a quick rundown, he took about 2 days to pretty much get the trick down, like 99%. It took maybe 30 minutes grand total, but what you want to make sure to do is to split the training sessions into short bursts, otherwise your dog could get frustrated and tired and bored. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run him through it, even though he's really tired right now. I'm going to run him through it one more time so that you can see what I'm doing with my hands. So I'll show you how I started, since you couldn't see my hands at all.
I'll show you how I started, and then I'll show you how I progressed to where he got to now, to where he didn't need a hand signal and I could tell him what I wanted him to do.
What we did. Good boy, just sit. Very good.
Okay, so hopefully you can see my hands. I'm gonna do a test one here just to be sure. So what I did was I started off doing this, like, boop, 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 and then I'd click him for that. Oh, look at you, he was still holding it. Okay, so then I faded out that little noise I was making, and then I brought him up with, I think I just started introducing the command, so I was like, sit pretty.
Good boy. Very good.
And then I kept using my hand to go over his head like so.
There you go, good boy.
And then I kept practicing with that. And then in the middle, he kept kind of trying to jump up on me, like he was trying to balance on me, which is okay, as I said in the beginning, but then I started selecting for him not touching me, which is why he's not doing it. And then eventually, I started doing really small hand movements, like sit pretty.
Good boy.
So, very good. So I just like barely flicked my hand out there instead of moving it all the way back. And then I slowly got rid of any hand movements at all to where I just asked him, sit pretty. Good boy. And of course, he's not totally confident in it yet. So as you saw, he didn't do the perfect sit pretty. He just kind of like popped up for a second, like, was this what you wanted? But once I kept practicing, then yeah, every time I asked him to do it, he did it. Sit pretty. Oh no, that's a sloppy sit. Come here. Come here. Sit. Good boy. Sit pretty.
Good boy. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, you earned it, buddy.
Sit pretty. Good boy. Very good.
So yeah, this is like a super fast, like hyper speed video on how I did it, but it's all about taking baby steps. Okay, so to reiterate, what I did was I started off just doing whatever I could to get him to kind of lift up his front feet. So the thing that worked for me is I made this noise like doo 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 doo. Oh, like he's doing it. Is so that noise would work if for some reason he decides to ignore my, oh, you're so cute, hold on. So I did that noise and held my hand way over his head to kind of promote him to do it. But he can't sit like that. That's sloppy sitting. You gotta sit. Sit, good boy. Doo, 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 doo. Yeah, good boy. Yeah, so that's what I did at first. And then eventually I replaced that doo, 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 doo with the sit pretty command. So I go sit pretty.
Good boy.
And then I practice with that for a while. So sit pretty.
Good boy.
And I click him again if he holds it. And then what I did next was I started fading out the really intense hand movement to where I barely flick my wrist.
Sit pretty. Good boy. Yeah.
And then I click him again if he holds the position, because that's what I want. So it just reinforces that that was the right thing to do.
Sit pretty. Good boy. Yeah. Very good, buddy.
And then eventually we get rid of the hand signal. Sit pretty.
Good boy. There you go. Sit pretty. Good boy. Very good. Sit pretty.
That was lazy.
Sit pretty. Good boy. Sit. Sit pretty. Good boy. Perfect. You're doing so good. Yeah. Sit pretty. Good boy. That was very good, buddy.
All right, we got a couple more in me. Keep it.
Good boy. Sit pretty. Good boy. That was so good. Look at you.
So yeah, there we have it. So that is how I trained him how to sit pretty. So definitely, you're so good. So pretty much it just took, it took 2 days of very spaced out, non-intense sessions. Like, they will get it. And like I said, this clicker helps a lot. So basically the key for like any command you want to teach your dog is to break it into small steps. Like, you can't just expect him to get from A to B without doing A1, A2, A3, and A4, you know? So if you find that your dog's like just not bridging the gap, try and find a step that's in the middle. And it's really easy to fade them in and out of things. Like I said, I literally had to start out making a weird noise and waving my hand over his head, which had like nothing to do with it. The key was to capture him getting his feet up in the air. So do what you can to keep them in a sitting position and to keep their feet up in the air. So you just select for that. They don't have to have it mastered right away. What you want to do is get the action and then refine it to what you want. So eventually, as I demonstrated twice for you guys, is I eventually just worked out the kinks, so to speak. You know, I stopped using hand signal, I stopped making the weird noise, I started using the word command that I wanted him to have. And I narrowed it down to getting like the perfect like sit pretty instead of like jumping up and putting his paws up and stuff. So it's gonna take different amounts of times for different dogs. Some dogs it might take a week of every day, you know, 10-minute sessions. It could take 2 days, like with Ajax. Like he didn't get it the first day. So the key is to be really patient, take your time, don't get frustrated, and just have fun with it. So that was fun to do. I had a bunch of footage originally that I recorded yesterday and today, but it is all pointed at my feet. So that was before this. So when you see all of that footage, that is extremely condensed. That footage was probably 30 minutes worth, and I think I narrowed it down to about 4 or 5 minutes because it wasn't really showing you much. It could show how he was balancing, but you can't see his head, you can't see my hands, you don't know what's going on. So I re-recorded just now so that I could show you the steps I took. And it's honestly probably a lot better and more informative for you guys, but just know that that progression I showed you, how he got it, like each step that I introduced, that's because he already knows the trick. So don't expect to be able to ask him to do it twice, you know, with the noise in your hand and then being able to bridge that over to taking the noise out and then like taking your hand out and all that. No, it doesn't happen that fast. It can, but don't be surprised if it doesn't. So just take your time, build them up to what you want. So great, he's cleaning himself, so sorry about that. Anyway, so that will be today's video for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I know you've all been asking me to do more clicker training videos, so here it is. And I'll see if I can teach them some more tricks and do some more clicker training videos in the future. So we hope you guys have a great weekend, or you had a great weekend. We hope you have a good week, and we will see you again next weekend.